I'm telling you, I was impressed.
Well, I have spoken to the press before.
Yeah, but tonight, that line about the chastity belt.
Well, Ridge, that question that she asked, what I was going to do about your infamous exploits with the Forrester models backstage, I mean, really?
That was a great comeback. I loved it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you weren't too shabby yourself.
I was inspired.
Oh, were you?
Mm-hmm. We knocked them dead.
The couple of the year.
Be curious to see how the press plays it.
Kiss me.
Where's your dad?
He's out.
With Margot?
And the baby.
That means we're alone.
Yeah, that's what it means.
You don't live by that rule anymore, do you?
What rule?
That arcane rule you imposed on yourself the first time we were engaged?
Oh, you mean about not making love until after the wedding?
It's funny how rigid you used to be, isn't it?
Well, I like to think of it as being principled, Ridge.
Oh, well, just as long as it's out of your system, that's all that matters.
Out of my system?
You're not telling me that you still feel that way, are you?
What I'm telling you, Mr. Forrester, is that on our wedding night, I'm going to give myself to you in a way that I hope redefines your concept of pleasure. Until then, I'm afraid you're going to have to satisfy yourself fantasizing about it.
Don't stand too close to me if that's still your attitude.
Oh, poor boy. He's all turned on and nowhere to go.
Oh, you're gonna control me with sex, is that it?
Whatever works.
I do love you. Think they picked up on that today? The press conference?
Definitely. Ridge, speaking of the press conference, how did you feel seeing Brooke there?
Not good. Not good at all.
Well, I better get going.
Thanks for everything, Thorne. Dinner was delicious.
She's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'll take care of her.
Good night, Brooke.
Can I talk to you two?
Sure.
Will you sit down, please? Look, I know that I was a miserable dinner companion tonight. I shouldn't even have gone out with you two.
Brooke, that's not
Donna,
true.
don't say anything. Just listen to me, okay? I am going through a very difficult time right now. And that press conference certainly didn't help. But this is something that I have to work through on my own. I know you two really want to help, but you can't. Not at this point. So, until then, I will not impose myself on you like I did tonight. Understood?
Sure, Brooke. We understand. But we don't accept it. And we're not about to.
All right, then you will see that she gets the message. Thank you. Yes, it's very important that she call us back, either myself or her mother. All right, thanks very much. Goodbye. Felicia's roommate.
You called Felicia?
Yes, she wasn't there, but I definitely want to talk to her.
What about?
It's time she came home, Stephanie. I want her here for the wedding.
The bold and the beautiful. This portion sponsored by NyQuil in original and cherry flavors.
Now that's interesting. The idea that Felicia would come home for the wedding.
It's as good an excuse as any to get her to come home.
She'll object, of course.
Yes, she always does.
But on the other hand, she might do it because of Ridge.
We can't be certain, though, can we? I mean, she didn't come home the last time Caroline and Ridge had a wedding.
Well, that's because she had a lot of obligations at school.
Well, listen to you. You're defending her.
Ironic, isn't it?
It's been almost 3 years.
Well, then let's hope there have been some changes.
The two of you cannot relate any worse than you did before she left.
That's one way of looking at it.
That's a positive attitude.
I miss her. Even though we disagree on every conceivable subject possible, I miss her because she's my daughter.
Well, I'm sure there's a part of her that misses you, too.
I can't imagine what part.
You are in a good mood today, aren't you?
Well, there's lots of good things happening. Not the least of which is what's happening between you and me.
And a family wedding couldn't hurt either.
That's true. But even more than Ridge marrying Caroline, the fact that he didn't marry Brooke.
Donna and I are concerned about you, Brooke. And it would have been tough, real tough, to put that concern aside tonight.
Well, you're just going to have to learn how to do that. You and Donna are both trying to get to know each other. You certainly don't need me and my problems interfering with that process.
Are you kidding? It's part of the process.
If that isn't the lamest excuse.
No, Donna is right. Our motives are totally self-serving.
Will you guys stop?
Besides, you and I share a problem, Brooke.
How are things going between you and Ridge?
Would you believe he asked me to be his best man?
You can't be serious.
Oh, I sure am.
But I'm sure they don't expect you to go through with that.
And that is exactly why I am.
You're gonna be his best man?
Thorne, you can't be in that wedding. You'd be miserable.
Somebody has to do it.
The conscience of the group. That should be my role.
Brooke, you're not the conscience of the group. You're the victim.
No, I'm Stephanie's conscience.
Mother?
Thorne, I know you're close to your mother, but the fact is, I would be the one marrying Ridge if it wasn't for her.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that with Brooke.
I'm sorry Brooke had to go through that. That damn reporter, I could bust his head for bringing up that question.
Honey, it's probably not the last time you're going to get a question like that.
I just would rather leave Brooke's name out of all this.
No more than I would. But if that's your feeling, then you should really talk to your mother.
I can't imagine Mother bringing this up to the press.
Well, she probably wouldn't, but I don't know. What if a reporter cornered her with a question about Brooke? She was out to bury Brooke at one point.
But why, Caroline? What's the cause, the root cause of all this antipathy between Mother and Brooke? Has to be something more than personalities. It has to be. Now, there's something going on between those two that we don't know anything about. So what the hell would it be?
Well, I've certainly given a lot of thought to that question. I've even spoken to Brooke about it.
And?
You know, Stephanie and Brooke, they had problems from the day they met, really.
Yes, but didn't you notice it escalate at some point?
Yes, it did. Definitely did. Last winter.
It was the time when Brooke's parents both moved to Paris. I remember it because I remember thinking that Brooke was going through something, like a loss.
Why do you think she would take it out on your mother?
I don't know. That's definitely when it started. Brooke's relationship with Mother went from bad to impossible. What could have caused it? What could possibly have caused it?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I even mentioned Brooke's name.
It always amazes me when you do. Because you know how I feel about Brooke. And I know the last thing you want to do is irritate me.
That's true.
Which leads me to believe that there's some incredible dynamic here that forces you to bring up Brooke's name. What puzzles me is what that dynamic might be.
Eric, the family is beyond Brooke, all right?
Everyone apparently is, except you, Stephanie. You know, you can't resist every opportunity to lash out at this girl, even though she's not even around anymore. Tell me what really happened between you two. And it has nothing to do with Ridge, does it?
You would have been marrying Ridge if it wasn't for Mother?
Yes.
Why, Brooke? How could you say that? Look, I know things didn't turn out right for you. You should have ended up with Ridge, and you didn't. And I know you and Mother have this history of enmity between you, but to blame her for losing Ridge, I mean, if it's true, Brooke, I would like to know what she did, because I'd like to do something about it.
Why don't you tell us, Brooke?
There's nothing to tell.
Well, then what you just said...
What I just said was me being angry and bitter.
So you didn't mean it?
No. No, I didn't mean it.
Oh. Well, look, I'm gonna call it a night.
Thorne, no, go. Stay here with Donna. I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed.
Brooke, would you lighten up? Donna and I will have a lot of time alone, and if not tonight, some other night. I have a heavy day tomorrow.
Sure. No problem. I'll walk you to your car.
Good night.
Night. Thanks for dinner.
Brooke? Don't go up yet. I want to talk to you.
Ridge, I don't think that anyone really knows what Brooke's problem with Stephanie is. And you know something? At the moment, I don't really care. In fact, I don't really care about much of anything right now. Except for a certain wedding that's happening next week.
I think they might call that tunnel vision.
No, I think they call that being in love.
Is that what it is?
Yes. I feel a love for you that I've never experienced. And I can't wait to be your wife. I know that sounds really silly, but I mean it. Ridge, I feel like my life is going to finally begin next week.
Eric, what happened between Brooke and myself is irrelevant now.
But it was more than your differences over Ridge.
Do we have to discuss this girl ad nauseum?
There you go. This girl really does get to you.
All right. Now, this is a perfectly good reason why neither one of us should ever mention her name again.
All right. I'll drop it for now. But I am certain that there's much more to this thing between you and Brooke Logan than you're letting on. And someday I'm going to find out what it is.
So, what did you want to talk to me about?
You and Stephanie Forrester?
Donna, I already told you.
No. You told Thorne, and you didn't tell him very much. You're talking to your sister now, Brooke. I want to know what happened between you and Stephanie.
This is one thing that I cannot tell you.
Why not?
Because I'm committed not to.
Who are you committed to?
To myself.
Must be pretty devastating.
To say the least.
She prevented you from marrying Ridge.
Let's just put it this way. She manipulated all of us, not just me.
What?
That's right. Stephanie Forrester did everything she possibly could to destroy our family. But that wasn't enough. Oh, no. After that, she went after me. You know, I was so happy when I moved in with Ridge. I was happier than I've ever been. And I knew so completely that we were perfect for each other. That we'd be together forever. I knew that, Donna. Like you know instinctively how to love your own child. Or your family. It was effortless. Until Stephanie started to work me over. She was tireless. She crushed my enthusiasm, my attitude, and she did the same with Ridge when I was carrying his child. Ultimately, I think we were both discouraged and broken without really knowing why. And then we drifted apart, enough to make Ridge change his mind about marrying me. And then, when Mom came back into town for Christmas...
What does this have to do with Mom? Brooke, you have to tell me.
Stephanie is a very evil person who has no heart. That is all you need to know, Donna. I had a dream last night. You know what about? That I killed her. That I killed Stephanie Forrester. And it scared me, Donna. I mean, it really did scare me. Because I vaguely remember that I enjoyed it.
Jewelry provided by Stephen Dweck. Join us again for The Bold and the Beautiful.